Welcome. Okay, what do you want me to introduce you as? Comedian? Theater artist? Everything?
Experience,
He's just here. It's Patrick. Okay, I'll do it all.
A human acne sign. Like Bugs Bunny was a person.
Okay, save it. This needs to be part of it. God, stop talking.
It's all gold.
Hello and welcome to the Charlotte O'Tremba Show. My name is Charlotte. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we have the specialist of special guests, Mr. Patrick Price.
On or off? Does it matter for the camera?
I mean, whatever you want. Let them
eyes.
see your
I have beautiful eyes. I'll show them off.
Gorgeous eyes. Comedian, actor, writer, theater artist, general lovable guy.
Life experience is what I describe myself as because I have no real skills.
Right.
So it's mostly just a matter of, oh wow, I have an interesting story about that, and then I fade into the background. So that's what I bring to the table. So at one point today, she'll be talking, and I'll just disappear.
Where'd he go? What happened?
People will be like, that was so great, but I don't remember that guy. And then you'll see me again and be like, wait a minute, I enjoyed him.
So for those that don't know Patrick, which if you don't, God, you're just missing out.
Oh my God, my ego. I hated this so bad.
Stroke it.
Been not enough around people lately, so I'm just like, yeah, I am
So
great,
accurate.
right? I'm great, right?
Sometimes,
I don't know.
sometimes I just send a text being like, so why do you like me? Help.
Are we still friends? Yeah. If so, why? List 3 reasons.
Honestly, I might just pretend it's for like an exercise for like a class.
I'll pretend that I'm in a creative writing class and I'll be like, what would you say are my 3 best characteristics? Just to hear it back.
Yes. Doing this exercise. Yeah, for class? Personal.
I need some help. And
yeah.
just, if you could give me your examples of what you think about me, and then I'll save them and put them in a note in my phone, and then when I'm having a bad day, I pull it up and be like, I'm very thoughtful. I do give good gifts.
I do.
And I have a really nice smile. He's right.
He's right. But the other person doesn't get it. No. They just send it to you and then...
I'm not made of time, okay? I'm busy.
Whoa.
No, actually, I have a psychotic need to compliment people back. Like, if you died and you complimented me first, my life would be go towards research to bring human life back from beyond the mortal realm, just to compliment you back. So if you were like, oh man, Patrick, you're such a sweet guy, and I really appreciate our time. Oh, you died. All of a sudden, everything would stop. The comedy, the acting, it would all be theoretical biology and medical science, and had to bring the human brain back just to be like, you're a really nice guy too, and then flip the switch back on.
Now they can die.
Now you can die. Now that we've balanced the scales.
It's so true, though. I feel like I'm the same way. There's some psychology there for like you can't fully accept a compliment.
For me, it's just I don't trust myself. So if anyone gives me a compliment, I'm like, it must be because they need an even exchange. They need something back.
They must.
Hold on.
I'm coming.
You'll be asleep and you'll just see me peer over the window. I think you're a really sweet guy too. And I shrink back down.
So let's cover how we met.
Okay.
So a little
dusty,
background.
Windswept morning.
One day. So we were in the play Bachelorette by Leslie Headland. Oh my God, such a good play. If you've never read or seen it.
Leslie, if you're watching this, you did a hell of a play.
A hell of a play. And we did a hell of a job.
I mean, we did the best job of any. I mean, you wrote it, but we brought your words to life better than anyone else ever have, including that film, which had a lot of extra stuff. I don't know if you ever saw the film.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
I was like, you know what? This isn't my story. So reject.
Your words were here. We molded them.
We took it. You gave us the ingredients, and we made the 5-star dish, Michelin rated.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So we met doing that,
Yep.
and I remember I was at first like, oh no, I'm gonna be scared of him.
I'm a scary looking guy. If you don't know me at all, I'm like 6'4" and like big and fat, but in a threatening way. Like, not like just friendly fat, like, oh man, he's like Pillsbury's Dope Boy. I look like, oh, he's a thug from a Sandra Bullock movie. And he's here to wait outside her apartment and try and smack her when she goes to solve the net, which is a really old movie reference, so I'm glad I could throw that out there.
Nailed it.
But then she realized that I'm like an Acme cartoon character in loose skin. So
Exactly what I thought,
and when I met her, I was like, man, she's like a real actress. This sucks.
She's gonna be a bitch.
Like, she's gonna just have so many opinions, and she's gonna be better on stage. Great. Luckily, I was playing a really challenging role for me, which was a stoner who's afraid of talking to girls. Which I had to really reach back into every moment of my life, starting at age 15 to now.
Relive all of them.
Relive it all.
Right there on
Bring
stage.
it right back. Smoke a lot of catnip.
Oh, God.
A lot of catnip.
Well,
because
at least...
you can't smoke weed on stage. You can't smoke
Fun
weed
fact.
in life. In real life, you can smoke all the weed you want. But you can't smoke it on stage. And so we had to find an equivalent, and the closest equivalent we could find was catnip.
Was it really catnip?
It was catnip. And I smoked it. However many shows and rehearsals we did with dress rehearsals and shows, I think I smoked about probably like half an ounce of catnip. Which it smells like if you ground up a sock and then rolled it in your yard clippings and then inhaled that into your lungs.
Wow. Golden.
Yeah.
I don't know, sounds just as good, if not better, than what I had to do, which was snort fake cocaine. And
don't do cocaine.
Don't do cocaine, that's
Ever.
illegal.
That's a real thing.
So, on stage, obviously, we could also not snort
You can't do cocaine on stage. And, you know, it's weird. There's all these rules you don't
So
get into
crazy.
when you first get into the theater. Like, I'm going to kill this guy for real. And then they're like, it's a fake knife.
And you're like, dang it. So, yeah, we had to snort like this, I think powdered sugar, but then there was something else we did snorted for a while.
Baking? No. not
Yeah,
baking.
maybe. It was like, I swear, something different every time, but definitely it was powdered sugar for a little, because I remember then I would start to like taste it in the back of my throat because you snorted all the way through.
I would also pour some out before the show onto my hand and lick it off.
And then I got
sugar.
so mad because one or two of the other people who were supposed to be doing it like wouldn't do it, and I was like, oh no, if I'm doing it, you are
all doing rails, all right? Chop it up, do a line, start being a real performer, and snort this foreign substance up your nose.
Don't be a fucking wimp about it.
It's just like, do
What
you
is this,
care about
amateur
the
hour?
craft?
Yeah.
Do you care about the real purpose behind that lady's name who wrote this that you said earlier that I already forgot?
Leslie.
Leslie.
If Leslie wants the
Leslie
wants
wants
the
us to
cocaine.
snort fake cocaine,
Cocaine.
you will snort fake cocaine.
If you were smoking catnip, then damn it, we're snorting powdered sugar.
It's all about balance, people.
Yeah, that's right.
But actually, it was really nice, that whole experience.
It was so great.
Everyone we worked with was just a joy, and that's honestly, it's one of the reasons I love, local community theater,
I do too.
because you get a chance to meet people you wouldn't know. Like, how else would we have ever met?
Exactly.
I knew one girl in that show from other plays.
Right.
But other than that, Nancy, we love
Shout
you.
out Nancy. Love you, Nancy.
Nancy. But yeah, and I got into it. Actually, the reason I got back into acting because of local community theater.
Yeah.
I was out of acting for like 7 or 8 years up to that point. Probably.
What? So nuts. You're so good.
You're so good.
How could you just
my
let
God.
the
You're
world
the better
not
one.
experience?
You're the better actor.
You're the
That's
better
the end
one.
of it. But no, and I got back into it because a friend of mine was directing a show on the main stage. They're doing A Christmas Story, and they needed someone who could memorize about 109 pages of dialogue.
Oh.
And her a friend of hers recommended her to me, and it was a mutual friend. And I was like, yeah, I'd come audition. And I was one of the only guys who auditioned for that role because it's the narrator in A Christmas Story. You actually don't do much aside from just tell long, rambling monologues from page to page.
Wow, Patrick.
Right?
You?
How could I talk forever about myself? So it was a dream role. And then I also got to play the various characters the family interacted with. Like I sold them the Christmas tree, and I was when the little boy had a vivid hallucination dream about a cowboy. I was the cowboy he had the dream about. and I was also him in the future.
Stop.
So,
oh my god.
so many layers.
So many.
Like the movie, you're like, oh, it's a nice narrator talking about a kid, and we see the experience. The play, this kid's meeting dreams, and he talks to himself at one point. I'm like talking to him on stage next to him. I'm like, this is a lot more ethereal, weird quality on stage.
Yeah, I feel like as an audience member, you'd be like, did I snort my powder sugar before this?
Who smoked all the catnip?
Yeah.
I think it was us.
Gotta focus. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you brought that up because I do want to talk about local theater. I feel like...
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. I think like what was so wonderful about especially this local theater is that it does draw all the local artists. It's not just like flying in people from New York or LA.
Yeah.
And it also just like the whole point is to make these stories part of people's lives, and the best way to sort of bring that story to people's lives is by like
people in their community.
Exactly.
They see people that they see around town. They might even work with.
Yeah.
Local community actors aren't just actors. Like, for the most part, you might get one or two who have, you know, like a sugar daddy situation or something. But the rest of us have jobs and, you know, work, and so we're spending our off time doing this because of the love. You know, we're not getting paid for it for the most part. Like, you rarely hear about local community actors getting paid, which, if you're a rich person out there and that upsets you, make a change.
Yeah,
all
get
right?
after it.
Get a bunch of money.
Donate to Lake Worth Playhouse Theater.
Lake Worth Playhouse Theater. Give them
Lake
a
Worth
bunch of
Playhouse.
cash. Lake Worth
This is
Playhouse
just
Theater.
one ad for Lake Worth Playhouse Theater.
Lake Worth Playhouse Theater. But yeah, so that's one reason that I love it so much, is that sense of these are people that, you know, you get to know who live right next to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, you would never know that, oh my God, we get along on so much stuff, because you spend so much time with these people during rehearsals, you become friends just out of need, out of necessity, really.
Must become.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way you want to spend that much time. You know, you're out of work, you're tired,
Believe
you're
me,
like, all right, I'm going to spend 6 hours with this group. I got to find something. Whatever. Y'all like shows, TV? Who likes news?
Catnip?
Anything. And you also find some real gems. You know, everyone I've met is a talented performer, but there are some people that I'm like, oh my God, why aren't you famous?
Yeah.
Like there's the guy I did the last Christmas show I did, this guy Richard, has got this 1 in a million voice, just this stunning, beautiful singing voice, and I'm like, why aren't I paying you to stand around and hear your voice?
I would.
Yeah, I would.
Take
honestly.
my money.
Here's the limited amount of cash I have. Please take it. Or the gentleman we did, Michael Connor.
Yeah, another great.
What a brilliant
gem.
Brilliant mind. But it unfortunately, because he's handsome.
He's got to play the like.
But he's not blonde handsome. When you're blonde handsome, you're the good guy.
Yeah.
When you're brunette handsome, you're like that
exactly,
guy has
yeah.
a knife. Just like if you're
there's just one there.
If you're big and have facial hair, you're like that's a thug or a priest or someone's father. I've been all three of those in almost every show I've ever been in, or I'm a lovable sad sack.
Those are great. Yeah, I mean, do you want to hear mine? Mine are always bitch, bitch, lesbian, or like weird cop or doctor.
Okay,
that's
so
like again mean.
The hard edge one.
Yeah.
So I mean, what it is about that you think puts out such a mean gay energy?
I know, literally. I think one, I'm like tall.
Oh yeah. And as we all know, all lesbians are tall.
As we know, must be it.
Must be it.
And I guess I don't know, whenever I do a reading and there's sarcastic lines, it just comes so naturally. I don't have to act.
The words come out on their own.
It's like, oh, this is great. I'm in my zone here.
Like, I could study my ass off to be the leading man who's like, you know, this kind, caring, considerate doctor. But then as soon as I start talking, they're like, that's the priest. He's the old drunk priest.
There he is.
And he stumbles into a room and his pants fall off. I don't even have to audition. They'll just be like, here's your part.
We've seen you do that before.
Do your pants rip. Here's your, go get fitted.
Yeah. I also think too, it can be like, at least in New York, it can feel like such a bubble where it's like, oh, the people make the stories and then the same people go see the stories, and it's just like this, everybody just jerking each other off. Like.
Well, I mean, and that, not down here, you get that in like another community I'm part of, Improv. Mm-hmm. And that's any improv.
Oh, that's any improv anywhere.
half of every improv audience are other improv performers coming to watch and be like, what could I have done better?
Yeah, exactly. That's like
And I know,
stand-up too.
because I've done that.
Yeah.
And I've gone to shows just to be like, you know what, I bet I'm funnier than these people.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And then when I see someone way funnier than me, I'm like, shit, he's really fucking funny.
Well, I hate him.
And I'm gonna leave. You know what? Now I'm
That's
leaving early. I'm gonna fake a phone call. Oh, sorry, the hospital called my mom and I have to go to be a doctor.
Sorry.
Sorry,
I'm also gonna not laugh.
This is not... Yeah, you do your best. Or you see people who go too hard.
Oh.
Like, you'll see improvisers come to another improviser show, and as soon as, all right, can we get a...
Yes.
Can we get a what? I didn't mean that.
I'm crying. That's so accurate.
You just want to go behind them and find the dial on their brain and just bring it down to a 3.
Too less.
Just, you're not on stage, darling.
I
We're
know.
out here.
It does feel like they're hoping a spotlight will just turn around on them.
Can we get a suggestion? Rocket scientists who are apes. And I'm like, they wanted a job.
Yeah.
What?
You can't tell us what to do for our scene. That's not the point.
I get it. You're also creative and you're making a narrative, and that's wonderful. Shut the fuck up and sit down.
Not your time.
Your show is 2 hours from now in the same building.
Who are you? It's so true. Or the people at stand-up shows
Yep.
who, it's all, because that's the thing too. If you do open mics,
That's a lot harder edged, because like improvisers,
they're so mean.
we're all teddy bears. Like no one's.
Yeah.
You'll run into very few mean improvisers, but stand-up people.
Oh.
Everyone's just knives and sharp edges and corners, and it's
So
just
true.
like, even if they like a bit, they're not. They're,
No laugh.
they're gonna go like, This real cold calculus. I'm like, are you fucking plotting something?
yeah, with the eyes, you're so right. The eyes are just at ya.
You always hate it when you see other well-known local stand-ups at your stand-up set, because you're like, fuck.
Fuck.
I gotta be at a 9. Gotta be at a 9. Go to a 15.
And then you got to come off and be like, oh yeah, those. I mean, it was
it's just-
fine.
yeah, it's all right. It's a decent set. It's a
You know,
decent
trying out some new stuff.
As soon as they walk away, you're just like, you do that anxiety breathing. You're just,
exactly. Step outside, call somebody.
hey guy, hey mom. Yeah, it's all right. It was fine. It was a good show. It's just I just need to hear your voice.
Again, why do you like me?
Could you send me 3 reasons? Just write them out. Just send them in an email and a text, so I have 2 copies.
Thank you. Yeah, and then there'll be like one nice person who does give you a compliment, and I'll be like, oh man, I got complimented by like somebody in the biz, and then they're like, yeah, I was just here, I wandered in. And I'm like, fuck.
That wasn't real then, was it?
Don't talk to me.
Or you get a compliment from someone. This is the other downside of that. You know, you've seen someone and you're like, oh wow, they do a lot of shows, and then you tell someone, hey, they even liked my set, and all these other comedians like, oh, you know what they did 2 years ago? They stole this, and they cornered this person in this room, and they're fucking thieves, and they're criminals, and I'm like,
Okay.
they said they liked my set. So,
That actually, yeah, that happened to me with like, I can think of one specific person already.
I won't say it out loud.
I won't say it out loud.
But I know of someone who gave me a compliment, and then when I told someone else in the community about that, they were like, oh, don't spread that around. And I was like, why? And then I did that thing where you kind of send out messages of a real banal quality, like, hey, how are you? Oh, man, I saw your set. I actually did a set the other night, and then 5 messages down, you know who complimented me, which is the main reason you wrote. You're really doing one investigative piece of journalism, but because we all can't just come out and say,
No.
I only want this one thing from you, and then we don't talk anymore.
Right. That would be rude.
We have to do the foofara and the dance around, and they're like, how's your mother that I've never met in my life?
Just was thinking of her.
I saw you made a status about her, so now I'm curious, even though I've never said hello to you once. It's like what we were talking about earlier. I used to work at this commuter place, and there was this guy there. He was a harmless guy, but I haven't worked at that job in about 4 years, and without fail, every year I get a text message on Thanksgiving, lowercase, no punctuation, Happy Thanksgiving. And it's
Love
just,
those.
if you look at that text, it's just him. It's just the
Every year.
4 gray bubbles with no response. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020.
I love that.
And I'm like, you know what?
Hey.
His political opinions may be different than mine, but he recognizes that this day is a day that we all naturally celebrate.
Together.
And that I know him, and I haven't changed my cell phone number.
Literally. Yeah, I got one the other day from somebody that we also both mutually know. Again, don't know him
That well.
Really? Not close at all.
Couldn't give you their last name with a
Could
gun in my
not.
mouth.
In fact, like the name in the phone is like first name and then like how I know them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
No,
two follow-up words.
Playhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, lowercase Merry Christmas, but some emojis.
Oh, that's nice.
That was nice. Again, why?
Out of left field. When you see the name and you're like, oh man. The first time it
Yeah.
happened, I was like, what do they need? Is something wrong?
no.
Are they all right? And then I open, I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then a year later, I'm like, I guess this is a thing now.
Yeah. Oh, we
have
are.
a tradition. I have a tradition again because I have so few traditions. So it's nice to have. You know what? Once a year, that weirdo is gonna send me a thing that unless I change my number, that lets me know that we both recognize that Thursday is Thanksgiving.
Oh, love that.
It's
I love that for you.
it warms the soul.
Warms the soul. Yeah, I've also gotten stuck, luckily not this year, but last year I believe, I got stuck on this like group text thread.
Oh yeah.
Where I was really not at the level to be included in this like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, friends group thread. And oh my god, actually I do remember it. This was PL pre-Lon. I had gone on.
Shout out to Lon.
Shout out Lon, putting up with us. Mostly me. PL pre-Lon. I had gone on one date with this guy.
Okay.
I would also like to say it was a trick date because I thought that he was gonna.
Can we hold the phone?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like scary.
Okay, it was
You should
not
never
scary.
Trick people into dating.
Well, it kind of was. He said that he booked comedy for his restaurant. He was like a manager there. And I was like, oh, great.
A really solid dude from the Standup already.
Hi. Red flags should have been waving, but, was looking to make some money and do comedy. So, anyway, and my friend was like, yeah, Charlotte does comedy. Like,
shove these two together.
Yeah, here's her number. Like, all right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's always nice when someone
should've
feels,
been
you know what? They want their phone number given out to this person they've never met.
So what I should have done is given my email address. So that's a first lesson. Don't know why I did that at all.
For anyone out there, anyone, not just the young ladies, the young men too, create a buffer email, all right? So include something so it doesn't look too fake, and just keep it as like, that's my giveaway email account.
That's smart. Should have done that too. Instead, so then we like texted, and then I was like, huh, and then he was like, yeah, let's get drinks and talk about it. Okay, harmless. I was like, okay, maybe he's friendly. This could be fun. Yeah. Maybe he's gay. This is great.
Who knows? Roll the dice.
Roll the dice. Turned out to definitely be a date, as I noticed as it went on. But still, no, because like it still at the beginning was a little unclear.
He wasn't in like a tuxedo with roses.
No, certainly not. And then as it went on, then he did this weird, we were like walking, and then he did this weird like twirl thing, and then like dipped me, and then tried to kiss me, and then I like froze my lips, which everybody loves. Just
who doesn't love a wall of force?
Just like
where it looks like you're doing that thing a toddler does, like, I'm gonna hold her breath till I blast out.
So confused.
True indicator of romance on the horizon.
I mean, butterflies were clearly fluttering.
Who doesn't love an unasked for twirl with someone you just met?
Exactly. Okay, so then, this is the guy. Then it must have been around the holidays, because then I got included on this thread. This like Merry Christmas thread, family and friends.
Oh, good.
And there weren't that many numbers, I might add. And then I was stuck getting all these freaking texts.
I guarantee you that you were introduced as his girlfriend, by you. Like
someone
just
was like,
"Hey, I'm gonna include my girlfriend on the text. Is that all right?"
God, so bad. Anyway, blocked the number, obviously.
Hey, man. Next time,
I forget his name.
Just be upfront about it.
Just be upfront.
Be like, hey. Let's go on a date. I want to twirl you on the streets. Someone's going to go for that.
Someone is, and some gal will be very lucky.
If a gal told me that she wanted to twirl me on a date, I would be there in a flash.
Again, if I knew it was a date.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah.
Not to be tricked.
Yeah, again.
No one likes to be tricked into a date.
Yeah, love that for a date.
Yeah, right?
I love a twirl. Love a twirl.
Love a twirl. I'd love a twirl just in casual encounters.
Me
Just like
too.
if I saw someone who I hadn't seen in a while and they hugged me and then spun me around, did a little dip, and I'd be like, oh my God.
Love it. Yeah, when you're
Sweeping me off
feeling
my
it.
feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you're feeling it, it's so great.
Yeah.
When you're
When you're not.
When you're not,
you're being, actually what that is kind of like a hold or a throw. You're kind of being, you're like, am I in a fight? So your body's going to tense up. So.
Indeed, that's what happened. Also, didn't book any comedy, turns out.
That's honestly the worst part of the whole story is that you didn't even get a show from this twirler at his restaurant. Bar that he
I've also
works at.
checked. I don't think they ever do any comedy there. I feel like I
that's
was
good.
double swindled here.
Good. That's a 2-layered trick cake. Well, what's even better is that let's say that you had started dating him and then he would have felt obligated to do that. So then you would have done comedy to a room that's not used to that, which I can tell you is such a wonderful
Oh God.
freeing experience. If there's anything better than people trying to enjoy something else, and then you come in and be like, has anyone ever noticed dating sites are so crazy? And they're like, what's happening?
Literally. Oh, I have done that, as I'm sure you have.
Oh yeah,
Just the old surprise comedy show.
I actually got invited to one recently. Just because of COVID, I'm not doing any performances because life and wanting to continue the
Right.
process of it.
Right.
But I got invited to do stand-up at an art gallery. And I know
Oh,
what
is
you're
it the
thinking.
one in Jupiter?
No, it's somewhere in West Palm.
Okay.
I'm like, those two, hand in hand.
I mean,
best friends.
Whew.
Who doesn't want to go take some time to really consider an artist's internal struggle or their creativity put out in physical form while someone behind you goes, I once made a hamburger so big that I could barely hold it. I don't even know. That's not a great routine,
sounds like
but that's
a
what you're probably going to get. That's what you're probably going to get from a art gallery comedian.
Yeah. And then they always are like looking up, like, did I? Who called them?
And well, then the only hope that I had was like maybe they'll think I'm a performance piece.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you know what? This is V-bold. This is very. I imagine all art crowds are like stereotypical. You're like over the top artsy people. You know, like whipped back hair.
Pretty much what you're wearing right
Pretty
now.
much, yeah. Yeah, like the denim shirt, and also look at that. What are we wearing?
Oh,
New York
Sketch
City
Fest.
NYC Sketch Fest Bed-Stuy. I don't know where that is. I don't know where that is.
That's all right.
But this young genius here is
hardly.
a sketch writer extraordinaire, and she wrote us some sketches that got accepted into the New York City Sketch Fest, and it was my first time performing in New York City in my life. I was so thrilled.
Amazing.
I was so
thrilled.
thrilled.
I did the old surprise. I submitted us. Double surprise. We're accepted. Triple surprise. Can you come to New York?
Just curious. And of course, I was like, yeah, I'll quit my job. That's no problem. Although, funny enough, I actually got fired from that job the day before I left.
Pretty much as serendipitous as it gets.
Yeah. Although I wasn't fired due to performance, I was fired because the company mismanaged their finances really terribly.
But you were laid off.
Yeah, laid off is the term.
Yeah.
And actually, as I found out now, because I went back to that company, they've restructured the entire corporate. They had their former CEO step down, and it was a whole bunch of things. So they messed up their budget, and their easiest fix at that time was to fire 70% of the managers because we're the mid-managers. So we have just enough money to really make a dent, but not enough to be important to the function of the company.
Right.
So they got rid of us and then hired people in those same positions for much less money.
Good, great.
Yeah. Classic American business. So
Love
anyway,
that.
yeah, I got let go, but then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm in New York. I'm having fun with my friends.
Oh, it was
We-
such a great.
We did have a lot of fun.
We did have a lot of fun.
Saw some good sketches. Saw some.
Got a mixed bag.
Met some nice folks. Ended up partying in New York City, which
Oh my
I've never
God,
done.
yeah, that's right. You had that whole night out.
We had a fun night out with two of your friends,
That's
who,
right.
as far as I remember, were handsome businessmen.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much what I remember about them.
I mean, I think they should put
There
that
was
on their
the
business
tall
cards.
one and the shorter one.
Yep. Uh-huh.
They're both very nice guys.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Nick and Peter.
Shout out Nick and Peter, nice fellas. We ended up going to karaoke bar. Yeah, we went to karaoke. We drank at the one place, the theater, for a while, and then hoofed it downtown
Hoofed it.
to a karaoke bar that was in like a
K-Town,
building. It was
yeah.
in like just a regular office building. And I was like,
That's
is
how
this
they
what
get
New
ya.
York does?
Yeah.
It's like, go up to the 5th floor, walk down the hallway, and hear brr, brr, brr. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, across, that's a dentist office, and there's an accountant, and then there's Baba
Surprise.
Bebop, just fun. And it was crazy, too, because as soon as we stepped in, I'd never been to a Koreatown bar and did not realize that the predominant crowd there are a gaggle of gorgeous young Asian ladies just dancing the night away in great clothes, and then the sleaziest looking men in the world. And I'm like, oh, right. Creepy, gross dudes with Asian fetishes.
Oh, yes.
And then you'll see a few of them who, are computer programmers or something. I'm just, not to paint with a broad brush, but fat white guys probably working inside a building. And they're just dumping out cash at these young ladies who are just getting free drinks and just having, and I'm like, you know what? Those girls are smart. Because those guys are never probably going to try anything while you're in a pack.
Yeah, well, you got a pack around you.
You got a pack around
safe.
him. So just keep getting the free drinks, and then around 3:30, disappear into the night. Because he'll have to go piss for the 9th time because of the poor bladder function and poor circulation. Because he's, as we said before, very fat.
Right.
And so then you just make your way out the room.
I just love how you've just come up with the whole plan.
Oh yeah, no.
That's what's happening.
If I was a young Asian girl in New York, that's what I would do. And yeah, then we walked to a New York pizzeria, where I watched a guy get in a screaming argument with the person behind the counter over the price of the food.
Classic
Because
New
I was
York.
like, isn't it $2? What's the argument here? Because, in Florida, and that's the other thing, if for your listeners who aren't Floridian or have never been here, the only fights you're going to see are going to be between bar patrons, and it's going to be either coke-fueled or over someone's cheating stepsister who also is their boss at the local grocery store, where every stereotypical joke is absolutely true about Florida. I live about 2 blocks away from the Wendy's where a guy chucked a gator through the window.
Wait, you're near that Wendy's?
Yeah.
We wrote about that Wendy's.
I go there probably once or twice a month.
Have I just met a local celebrity?
I mean, I didn't chuck the gator in.
Yeah, you did.
But
We've now
I
rewritten
just-
it.
Yeah, now I've just seen the bun. I'm like, hey.
Did you see any remnants of the gator?
Of the gator? No, but I do see a lot of gators because I live out west. I live out near an area called Loxahatchee, Wellington, Royal Palm, the western communities. And that's where we get a lot of just loose gators and iguanas just going about their business.
So do you ever try to, get rid of the gators or iguanas?
No, I mean, there's no real point because they're just going to come back anyway, especially iguanas. Iguanas are down here because in the 80s, iguanas were a huge boom, right? Because of movies and television being like, oh, iguanas are a cool, funky pet. But then you forget that they're basically dinosaurs. And if you feed and take care of them properly, they'll get about 5-6 feet long.
They can be so big.
They're all aggressive. There's there's someone out there watching this is like, oh, well, Jub here loves me. And
that person is weird.
And also that's a name from The Simpsons. I stole that. But yeah, I'm sure there's one person who has a friendly iguana who's going to end up killing someone in real life. Because everyone I've ever met who is a regular reptile collector is a weirdo. Every single
I would agree with
person
that.
who is a avid, not just they have one little dragon, but like if you own more than one snake, you're a fucking weirdo. I'm here to tell you that you're a fucking weirdo.
If you didn't know.
If you didn't know that, I'm sure you didn't because you're probably talking to your 2 snakes wrapped around your shoulders right now while you're shirtless watching television because that's a regular Sunday to you. You're a fucking weirdo.
It's so accurate. And they think nothing's wrong with it, and they'll talk to these reptiles as if they are adorable pets when they don't want anything to do with them.
I've owned Scimitar for about 3 years now. And,
look at him.
Really, he rescued me. I'm like, that's a 6-foot python who's thinking, if I don't get fed today, I'm going to eat this monkey.
Yes.
That's his only 2 thoughts.
Literally.
His 2 thoughts are, I'm hungry, and if I don't eat, I'll eat this thing holding me. And your process against that will hopefully be to kill it before it wraps around you. But you won't because it's your precious son. It's your scaly son who loves you. He doesn't have the brain build to love you.
No capacity for it.
But anyway.
Iguanas are non-native.
Iguanas are non-native, and everyone got them. It was a big boom. And then when they realized that, oh my God, this thing bit off my son's finger, the people who didn't kill it, because a lot of people are very squeamish about killing animals, and I understand that. I don't want to kill animals, first off. Let's get that.
Patrick is not killing animals.
Not kill animals, don't like it.
Not a killing animal kind of
I
guy.
have a face of someone who kills animals. I also have a face of a Civil War ghost.
Oh, love that.
Right?
I feel like I see your next role.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it became this big boom, and everyone just, well, we're in the tropics, that's where they live. So they set them out there, and we do have the temperature for them to live down here, but that's what's called an invasive species.
Exactly.
Because ecosystems are a real thing. Think of it as a circle.
They eat all of these animals.
When you take 10 iguanas and you throw them, that's like taking a brick into your circle and shattering it to bits. And then the iguanas make a new circle where they're in charge of it. And
so that's why you're allowed to kill iguanas.
Yep, that's why. You are in Florida, you could chop its head off in the street and no one would blink. Which, yeah, I guess that makes us an odd state. Now, gators are a different thing. Gators were endangered for a while. The Florida gator was an endangered species, but because of really good breeding programs, they're supposed to be here. Gators it's just that, gators are huge and they're just going to go where they want.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh my God, there's a gator in my backyard, just let him be there, all right? He's not going to stay. Gators don't stay in a yard.
Oh, that's good to know. So they'll always find water.
Yeah, they'll dip out. They're just there because they're like, I think I smelled food. And then food doesn't come to them because you brought your dog back inside. It'll hang out and then be like, this is boring. I'm going to go eat somewhere else.
I'm so glad you're here so we can enter the mind of these reptiles.
We're here to get into it. As someone with no formal education on herpetology or any sort of reptile biology at all,
absolutely trusted. Thanks for listening to part 1 of my episode with Patrick Price. Part 2 will go live next week. Also, just a quick note, Patrick and I recorded this episode outside and took the necessary safety precautions leading up to recording. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Bye-bye.